get to the more in-depth talking about the film Epifania, I'm just wondering how the project started at the beginning. How you guys met, and it was like, let's make a film together, just out of blue, or could you explain?
No, we were invited by the CPH Docs,
Yes.
which is the documentary festival in Copenhagen, Denmark. And we were invited, they invited Oscar from Colombia and me from Sweden to make a project together. And we met there, and then we developed the film for the first year, and we shot, in...
I don't know, maybe 1 year and a half after we met.
So when you met, then you also already had the idea for the Epifania.
No, actually the invitation was to try to develop a project together. They normally they give some base budget to develop. Some of the couples they do short films, for example, or I don't know, smaller films, but we decided from the beginning we wanted to make a long feature film. And I don't know, it took us some days to find the main idea.
Yeah, because we never met each other before.
Yeah.
So, and Oscar comes from the fiction world. I come from the documentary world, and he's from Colombia. I am from Sweden. Where do we meet to make a movie together? And then we started talking. Oscar said, well, maybe we can involve my mother in the movie, and I was a little bit like offended at first because I lost my mother when I was a teenager. So I was like, oh, we're gonna make a movie about your mother. And then kind of I slept over the night, and I was thinking like maybe now is the time to do something experimental with the sorrow that I have after my mother. And the next day we met, and I don't remember who it was, but some said, what if we recreate something from your past, and we let Oscar's mother play the role of your mother. And this is how the whole film is kind of based on this thing that we use something that is documentary from the real world, but we create a fictional world together, and we blend like,
Yeah, and for us was very important to be always open to create something that we knew that it was not going to be like a normal narrative film. Like from the beginning, we really wanted to create something that was more feeling, emotional. And actually we started to watch some films, for example, like some references, and then we did a process, like she went to Colombia, I went to Sweden. We told each other our stories, our family stories, and then we started writing something which was more like a mixture of all this, and always very open to mix styles, to mix formats. It was let's say the base of the project, the spirit of the project.
So it's 3 different episodes actually. It consists of 3 different episodes. Each of the episodes has different and distinguished style to each other. How did you direct? I mean, you direct together for each episode, or divided? Like Anna did the first, and no, you did all together for each episode.
Yeah, we did all together. It depends on how you say. Like the first part is placed in Sweden, but Oscar came to Sweden, and the characters come to Sweden from Colombia. But we used there a Swedish team. So the team is Swedish, and in Colombia we used the Colombian team, and I would go to Colombia. In Canada, that is, Oscar was shooting the birth of his sister there. But it's like we have all these, like we write the script, and we have all these different moments, and we co-direct. we were pretty sure what we wanted, like from the beginning, quite long before we were shooting, and then it was more like, of course, things develop on set, and if you are making a documentary scene or kind of documentary scene, of course there is always a reality to play in, but we have decided from the beginning how much reality or the level of the reality could be there, or with the characters.
Maybe the first two parts were more controlled because they were more fiction, and because of the locations, But Canada we decided that it was better because it was very real. Maybe just to be, in Canada we didn't have any crew. It was just me because it was a real moment. So, and it was very intimate. So we planned everything. We talked a lot. We were in touch all the time, and I went to Canada, for a few days to do that, but based in something that we planned together. But then, for example, in Sweden, it was a really interesting experience. Like we went to Fora Island, which is the famous island where Ingmar Bergman used to live, and
which also has another meaning but it has another because I grew up on an island, not on this island, but another island. So it's also, it's not that we chose the island only because of Bergman, but it has some significance for my background, like where I used to live was a similar island.
But it was something special because we were in this ambience, and I think we actually slept in Bergman house when we were shooting. So I think all this history of cinema in somehow inspired us a lot. And in Colombia, on the other hand, it was more spontaneous. It was more, we create, like an event, for the film. This workshop that you can see in the film, it was something that we create. But once we were there, it was very free, like very. That's why it's kind of, I think, in the middle of the film, like it's very fiction and documentary at the same time. Then the last part is really like more documentary, It's really something that we looked for from the beginning. It was not by accidentally. I think it was something very important.
Yes. I see. So the most interesting thing about the Epifania is the rhythm that those distinctive styles create, and you can flow with from this different cinematic experience, because in the beginning and the second and the third that you feel that some sort of movement, kind of transformation. So is it what was the most important thing for you guys to mix up this distinctive style?
I think when it comes to the story, because we didn't talk so much about the story, even though it's maybe not linear, we had an idea that it would go from death to life, something dark to light, and I think, and it had to do with a dream that I had when my mother passed away. I was a teenager, and I dreamed that she come back to life again and again. I was dreaming this for a long time, and that was something one of the first things that I told Oscar when he wanted to make a film with his mother was in the film. So we started to say, okay, I come from the documentary world, Oscar comes from the fiction world. He has the mother, I have not the mother, but I had this dream when I was a child. So what if we take a very documentary experience that I had, and through the movie making, through cinema, we make it into a fiction.
Yeah, and I don't know, at the end for me it's more like this movement. It's really represented in the film, and I think Anna's the same. I truly believe that cinema is not just to tell a story. Like this is one of the most common and less criticized mistakes in history cinema. Like people say, like, oh, films are for tell stories. I don't agree with that. Like, of course you can tell a story in a film, but it's not necessarily what is essentially cinematic. I think cinematic is more to create universes, to create characters, to make the people live in a world that doesn't exist. So for me, all the films are fiction, even documentaries, you know. So it's more how you attach people, you know, how you make people to believe, to feel, to reflect, and at the end, I think the film, it starts in, you know, in the death, then go to healing, and then it finishes in life, you know. So in the center is also a process of healing, which was my personal motivation when I said to Anna I wanted to work with my mom, because she's alive, she has a big need to heal herself, and I think myself I really needed to heal so many things, so I did it through the film, I think.
I think a lot of audiences could feel the same way, I guess, or similar at least, and truly agree with that. I mean, it's a very unique and interesting cinematic journey. So, thank you for being here with us and talking about Epiphania.
Thank you so much.
Hope you enjoy the festival, the rest of the days.
Yeah, we already do.
Thank you very much.
We will be always really, really grateful with the invitation.